Hey, everybody, welcome to Throttle and Russ, the profile show. I'm your host, Brian Sperber, and with us today, we've got Mamba Smith, and we are so excited. Mamba's the chief hype officer for NASCAR. You'll know him from the broadcast team for NASCAR on Fox or the broadcast team for TNT covering NASCAR, and he's part of I call him the co-host of Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour. So, Mamba, awesome to have you here, man. Thanks for joining us.
Hey man, thanks for reaching out. Happy to do it. We're gonna have some fun.
Awesome. Well, we're going to talk a lot about what's happening in NASCAR, the current trends, and maybe even some controversies that are bubbling up. But before we get to that, Mamba, I wanted to ask you a little bit about kind of your background. A lot of people don't
hmm
realize you're a racer yourself. You grew up around racing and in raced at various levels of the sport.
Yeah, I started racing when I was 4, so I'm 30 years in, which is kind of insane to say. But I've raced something every year for 30 years, which is really cool. Just because it's so hard to do it. You know what I mean? It's just such an expensive thing to do. I've been very fortunate. I've raced more now that I stopped trying to be a race car driver than when I was trying to be a race car driver. Being on the media side and being out in front of people and being able to show my personality and who I am, it makes it easier for people to want to support or get behind me or be like, hey man, when are you gonna run again? I'm like, well, I need the partners. They're like, well, how much? And I'm like, well, this is what it is. And like, well, let's do it. And I'm like, all right, man, let's go do it. You know what I mean? So it's been really fun to race. I actually coming up, I get to race at the summer shootout and the school bus race. Charlotte Motor Speedway called me to do that. I'm like, I'm in. Like anytime I get to drive something at speed, I'm all about it. Driving race cars is really fun. But yeah, so I started when I was 4. Won a lot of go kart racing with my dad. We moved up into the Allison Legacy Series. Won a championship there. And then went late model racing, and I was only, gosh, I think I was only like 16 when I started racing up at Thunder Road Speed Bowl, which Ken Squire used to own that track, and Tom Curley. So I cut my teeth there. Moved down to North Carolina when I graduated high school. So since I was 18, I've been here, kind of trying to figure it out, and I feel like we've done not too bad of a job. It's been all right. I can't complain.
Yeah. Is there any race cars you wish you had run that you didn't have a chance to yet?
Oh man, all of them. Um, I've been very fortunate to be a part of the Ferrari Challenge series. So I've got to drive a lot of Ferraris, both the production car and some of the old school race cars, which is really, really cool. I got my first ARCA start was at Indianapolis a few years ago. AJ Allmendinger sponsored me, and we did like a special scheme to one of his first wins in kart, which was super cool to have AJ. AJ was on the box and he was like on the radio with me, so it was really
Oh,
cool.
wow.
But yeah, man, I did anything that I can drive. If it goes fast, preferably four wheels, not two. But I will do snow machines too. Like that's also in my realm of specialty. So I'm down with that.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I guess turning to kind of what's happening in the in NASCAR Cup racing, wanted to get your opinion on some things that are going on and a peek ahead. I guess one of the questions I had for you was, we're starting to see the rise of Shane Van Gisbergen, which was probably not on a lot of people's dance cards, over the last couple of years. That you maybe thought of him as a road course ringer. But we're seeing him now, starting to, show some performance at the ovals. Like, what's been your take on, where he's come from, where he's going, and was it a surprise?
I'm honestly not wildly surprised. You got to remember, like he's only been on this side of the world for the better part of what 2 3 years. So there's been a lot that he's had to adjust to. But the type of cars that he comes from isn't all that different from what we have, and I think that's the biggest difference, right? The V8 supercars versus like a lot of the guys that come over and race with us. They're used to open wheel IndyCar type of formula racing. Even the IMSA racing is a lot different than what Shane comes from, because in IMSA in that world, it's not full contact racing. Like at least V8 supercars, like they do rub and bump and bang and do those type of things. So that skill set that he has that he got from over there translates. And a lot of people don't know this, but like he started dirt racing like midgets and sprint cars and stuff like that. So he has oval background. That's just not what he specialized in. So when he came over, and obviously we saw how that went, he kind of shocked the world with that first win in Chicago on the street course. But after he's gotten acclimated, I think he's done a really good job. The short tracks he's done way better, quicker than I think a lot of people would expect. He's had good runs on the super speedways, but now he's starting to figure out, the aero bubble that is you got to work with on the mile and a halfs. And also, Trackhouse hasn't been lights out, and honestly, the Chevys as a whole, they're like even Team Hendrick, they've been struggling to meet their own standards. So if the mothership of the OEM Hendrick is going to struggle, that struggle is going to be felt by everybody. So you got to really kind of tip your cap to Trackhouse and to SVG and Steve Dorn as crew chief, just getting their group together and making real good speed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the series this year had to return to the fabled North Wilkesboro Speedway, which got a lot of people excited. You were there as part of the broadcast team
Mm-hmm.
to absorb the energy. What was it like seeing all those faces return to North Wilkesboro and to participate in a really awesome night?
Yeah, I mean, it was super cool. I mean, the first time I went to North Wilkesboro, it was still desolate and like a forgotten place. So quick, it was one of those places when you move down, you always heard about, and you can just walk into these racetracks that are gone, like the ones that are like dead. You can just open property, right? So it's not far from Charlotte. And I remember I was going to a wedding, and on my way up, I'm like, oh, I'll stop in because you could always see North Wilkesboro grandstands from the road. And I'm like, I'll stop in and see it. I've never walked up in there. And I kind of drive up in there, and it was eerie. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of felt like a little bit of a horror movie type of vibe. Like you drive up, there was like this double wide that was like right on the back side of the like right beside the main entrance, and you drive up the road and it's just there, and there's like a dog barking, and like, I'm by myself. I don't know if I'm really allowed to be there. I don't know if this person is gonna kick the door down with a shotgun and be like, hey, what do you know what I mean? Like, I was a little, so I started, kind of creeping my way up into the racetrack. I get like a nice little look, and the dog was kind of like following me. And I'm a dog person, but like I'm on the dog's property. So I'm like, I'm back out of here. I've seen enough movies. I know how this is gonna play out. But seeing the place packed out, man, it was so cool. And I think one thing that really struck me is it reminds me of like a Fenway Park. You know what I mean? Of a Wrigley Field. We're in this era of time where we're getting rid of so much old stuff and old traditional things because the new stuff makes more money or this, that, and the other. And I get it, right? It's a business, but some things we just got to keep. You know what I mean? And we got to remember how we got to where we are. And if you get rid of everything from before, it's not even a museum anymore. It's just like a thing. You know what I mean? I don't want just a couple of bleachers of North Wilkesboro, in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Like I'd much rather be able to go up there and show people what it is. So shout out to SMI and Marcus Smith, his old group. Dale Jr. obviously had a big part of it, using iRacing to bring that place back. And Marcus has this amazing quote. He was like, I want to keep it. I wanted this place to be like a museum. And when you walk in, that's exactly what it feels like. There's a lot of stuff there that is just from before, and they made it better or nicer or locked it in, right? Even the big Winston Cup mural on the backside of the grandstands, they sealed that over, they clear coated that over, so it's not gonna get weathered anymore. It's gonna lock in that time frame, and I think some of that stuff is so cool. And the fans, it was so hot, man. It was so hot, and the fans sat through the whole thing. And I think one thing we kind of forget is that even though we're wide, some of our fans, it gets hot and they want to move around and stuff like, but the fans that were in Wilkesboro were locked in for the race. And I think that is really cool. And when we talk about, trying to save local short track racing and stuff like that, that's what it means. Support your local short track. And they did. And I think that because they did, we're going to keep going there for a long time.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it looked amazing. Great job all around. Well, looking ahead to the chase and then ultimately the championship, are there some teams that you're keeping an eye on that you think are going to be right there at the end and in contention for the whole prize?
Yeah, I mean for sure, right? I think from an organization standpoint, it's been the Toyotas really. So it's been both JGR and 2311 that have really dominated the season. But the number 12 car, Brian Blaney, Jonathan Hassler, Penske car, they've been right there all year. They've been like third, fourth in points all year. Chase Elliott has had a good run, been up there. Kyle Larson has been up there. They haven't had dominant race cars. Obviously, they're still looking for a couple more wins. Larson hasn't won in a while. Chase got a win early on in the year. But we're still looking for one from William Byron and Alex Bowman. So um, I would say that it's going to be come down to who you think it's going to come down to. Denny Hamlin's going to be in the mix. I think Christopher Bell is going to be in the mix. After his injury, I really thought they were going to be in trouble, but they really, tightened up the bootstraps and went to work. And Christopher's done an amazing job with a broken wrist driving these race cars. It's not an easy feat. It's not that it hurts probably all the time, but after a little while, the fatigue and the strength of not using it the same way, I'm sure it has to get to him. So he's done a phenomenal job. But my dark horse to win the championship, I picked Seabell to win the championship at the beginning of the year. My dark horse now that may not be so much of a dark horse is a Ford Mustang and Ryan Blaney. I would keep an eye on that number 12 as the season comes to a conclusion.
Yeah, great picks. Well, you do a lot, Mamba, to also, generate interest in the sport too at a really grassroots level. And so you
For
start.
better or for worse, that's for
Ah,
sure.
it's awesome. So you've got I guess a program or a group called NASCAR Sundays that's really gaining
Mhm.
a lot of momentum and a lot of attention. Tell us a little bit about NASCAR Sundays and what it's all about.
Yeah, NASCAR Sundays. So it really originated probably 2 years ago because obviously I need to watch the races every Sunday, right? I'm talking about it with Kevin and Caitlin for our show, so I got to watch it. And but what's more fun is watching it with people, So we would step out and it'd be like four of us. Well, then we'd post about it and we'd be having drinks and be yelling NASCAR Sundays, taking over the bar. And then by the time the day was over, there'd be like 30 people with us. And we were just bouncing around to different bars. And it was really cool. And then people started being like, when's the NASCAR Sundays? Well, what I realized, and then my next year, so last year, my workload went up a lot. So I was gone like 33 weeks out of the 38. And so when I wasn't there, the guys weren't really getting together the same way. So then this year, my producer at Bleacher Report, Austin Matthews, and I were like, man, we really need to figure out how we can do this. And we both had a friend named Pete, and Pete has a buddy named Tanner. So them two guys, we ran into them at Coda, and they were kind of talking about they threw a watch party for Daytona and how many people they had. And me and Austin started thinking about it. We're like, maybe if we collab and do it together, we can make this work. Because the biggest thing is when I'm not there, we need people to just still run the party because it's about community. You know what I mean? It's not about me. It's about us. It's our thing. And us is the whole, everybody that's in NASCAR, in cars or in motorsports, or just in the Charlotte community or wherever. So we started doing it. We did it. We've done it every week since I guess whatever was after Coda. I think it was Vegas maybe. So every week since then, we've thrown the party on Sunday. We've gone to 7 different venues. By the time the season's over, we'll have 11. We've had great partners like Jim Beam, Surfside, Red Bull, Michael Waltr's Brewing. It's been really cool. And then so where we go a lot is Hoppin in South End, Max Speed Shop in South End. We're gonna do Club West, which is in South End. And what it's done is it's brought the car culture and the race culture together. Because as you know, car people and race people they're not necessarily the same group of people.
That's right.
We love the same things, but internally we don't do it together. So what we've been able to do is kind of bring the two together. We have a group of guys that have this company called Wheel Price, and they're deep in the car culture here in Charlotte. So they come out a lot, and they bring a lot of car people out. So we have different cars. It's kind of like a little car meet. We have a bunch of Porsches that come out. We've had some Dodge Vipers. We have some Ferraris, Lamborghinis. I bring my Hellcat out, of course, because I'm a Hellcat guy. But so we just bring it all together, and it's been really really cool to watch it grow. It's grown so much to the fact that we have another group. A guy named Jeff up in New York City wanted us to expand into his area, so he took up that. So Jeff runs the New York City chapter of Mamba's NASCAR Sundays, and we have support from Bleacher Report and really the whole industry. Because when I go to the racetrack, everyone's like, "Man, I wish I could go," and I'm like, "I wish you could too, but you got to change tires on Sunday." You know what I mean? So we're really using it as a place for O'Reilly's and Truck Series, and even ARCA and the late model guys and girls can come out, hang out, get their celebrity up, and just be around the community, as well as the car people to come out and hang out together. So it's been really fun. Last week we were at Great Wagon Wheel Brewing. It was a distillery, sorry. It was really cool in Noda. So we've hit every part of Charlotte. Every part of Charlotte. Looking forward to the end of the year. We're going to kind of back it down a little bit for the last 10 for the chase, because football starts. And we just like competing with football is just like an impossible task. But we've owned the summer, and we've brought a lot of value to the bars, because a lot of the bars and restaurants during the summer months on Sundays, they don't have anything they're doing. So we've been bringing 80 to 100 people with us. But I'm really looking forward to something that we're working on the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the championship, and then for October Charlotte race, Bank of America 400, we're going to throw a massive tailgate. So that's going to be a lot of fun too.
Oh man, I love that. That kind of goes back to the old days where people would gather to watch races, and for whatever reason, it sort of seemed to fell off. But love that you're bringing that back, and super excited about NASCAR Sundays for the rest of the year. It's going to be amazing.
NASCAR Sundays, man. We're this has been our first like official year. We got an Instagram account. We got like 1,500 followers on it. We do a lot of fun content. We do like a fit check. So people are implored to bring out their best NASCAR or motorsports or car outfits out. And then shout out to our friends at Race Fuel. They have a Race Fuel card game that you can buy, and you can play the game as the race is going on. So like if there's a caution and you have a certain card, like you got to take a drink and stuff like that. So we're just trying to engage the community and remind everybody that Sundays are for NASCAR, man.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, he is Mamba Smith. Make sure you follow him on Instagram and X and all the social accounts, as well as see him on Fox and TNT, and of course the Kevin Harvick Happy Hour as a co-host. So, Mamba, thanks so much for joining us on Throttle and Rust. We really appreciate it. We're going to see you out at the bar and NASCAR Sundays.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me on.